Why do Iran and the United States clash? This question shapes not only their own future, but also the stability of the entire world. The roots of this conflict stretch back more than 70 years through a complicated web of power struggles, oil interests, secret operations, and deep cultural and religious differences that have turned these two countries into bitter rivals. Generations of leaders and millions of ordinary people have been pulled into this rivalry. Understanding how this story began and why it continues is the only way to see why tensions never really disappear. Even today, every crisis between Iran and the US makes headlines and keeps the region on edge. Many people fear that one small spark could ignite something far bigger, with consequences felt across the globe for years to come. Iran sits on some of the largest oil reserves in the world, making it an energy giant that many powerful countries wanted to control. In the early 1900s, British companies took over Iran's oil industry and kept most of the profits for themselves, leaving ordinary Iranians in poverty and with little say over their own resources. This unfair balance created resentment that would grow for decades. Oil was never just oil for Iran. It became a symbol of national pride and independence. For the West, cheap Iranian oil meant money and influence. For Iranians, it became a rallying cry to fight foreign control and demand justice. This desire for control over their own wealth planted the first seeds of revolution that would change Iran forever. In 1951, Iran's Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh made a bold decision that shocked the world. He nationalized Iran's oil industry, taking it back from foreign companies. For millions of Iranians, Mossadegh became a symbol of courage, independence, and hope for a better future. His move inspired people across the region who dreamed of freeing their own countries from foreign control. But for Britain and the United States, Mossadegh's decision was dangerous. They feared it would encourage other nations to challenge Western power and demand fair profits from their natural resources. The world watched as Iran stood up to two of the most powerful countries on Earth, setting the stage for a conflict that would change not only Iran's future, but also the balance of power in the Middle East. In 1953, the CIA and British intelligence launched a top-secret plan called Operation Ajax to overthrow Mossadegh and bring the Shah back to full power. They spread propaganda to turn the public against him, bribed politicians and army officers, and paid street gangs to create riots and chaos in Tehran's streets. The plan worked. Mossadegh was removed, and the Shah returned as an absolute monarch with strong US support. Many Iranians saw this as a betrayal that showed how easily foreign powers could interfere in their country's future. This deep wound shaped Iran's distrust of the West for generations. It taught Iranians that their independence was fragile and that any challenge to powerful interests could be crushed from thousands of miles away. After the coup, the Shah ruled Iran with an iron fist for more than 25 years. Backed by billions of dollars in American weapons and financial aid, he pushed for rapid modernization, building cities and industries that made Iran look strong on the outside. But inside the country, the Shah's secret police crushed any form of political dissent. Many people felt that Western influence was destroying Iranian culture and widening the gap between rich and poor. While some Iranians enjoyed luxury and progress, millions lived under fear and repression. This growing anger bubbled beneath the surface for decades. When the moment finally came, it exploded into a revolution that shocked the world and forever changed Iran's relationship with the United States. In 1979, the anger that had been growing for decades finally erupted into a massive revolution that forced the Shah to flee Iran. Millions of people, students, workers, religious leaders, marched together to demand freedom from dictatorship and foreign control. Ayatollah Khomeini, who had spent years in exile, returned as a hero and promised to restore Islamic values. The revolution replaced a monarchy supported by the West with an Islamic republic controlled by clerics. For many Iranians, it felt like they were taking back their destiny. But for others, it soon became clear that a new kind of strict rule would bring new challenges and limit many freedoms. Soon after the revolution, anger toward America exploded when Iranian students took over the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding 52 hostages for 444 days. The crisis ended any chance of trust between the two countries. Not long after, Iraq invaded Iran, starting an 8-year war that killed over 1 million people. the US quietly supported Iraq to weaken Iran's new Islamic Republic. Cities were destroyed, chemical weapons were used, but neither side truly won. These events deepened Iran's belief that America would always back its enemies to keep it weak. Even today, memories of the hostage crisis and the brutal war fuel Iran's distrust of the West. In the years that followed, Iran used its Revolutionary Guard to grow its power in the region. By supporting groups in Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen, Iran built a network of allies and enemies that keeps tensions alive today. Its nuclear program became another source of fear and conflict. A deal in 2015 brought hope, but it fell apart, and sanctions returned. The killing of General Soleimani pushed both countries close to war once again. Today, Iran and the US remain locked in a complicated struggle where a single spark could create a crisis that affects the entire world. Many wonder if true peace is even possible. If you learned something new today, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Make sure to subscribe to Edunaut so you won't miss our next big story that explains world events in a clear way. Thanks for watching. Stay curious and keep learning with Edunaut.